Hi, my name is Allison Lantagne, and for my inquiry project, I explored if propaganda was more effective than other campaign strategies. Of course, to be able to answer this question, we have to look at what other strategies campaigns use. Campaigns use many different strategies, but for the purposes of this inquiry, we will focus on three commonly used strategies. The first of this is earned or free media, which comes from newspapers, broadcast news, and other forms of journalism. The second strategy we will discuss is paid media through the form of advertisements, which is valuable to campaigns because it maximizes their control over the content and timing of messages. And the third strategy we will examine is social media, which is comparatively new and has a broad array of effects on a campaign. The first big lesson that I learned when doing this project is that there is no campaign without propaganda. It's impossible to say what strategies are more effective than propaganda because propaganda is interwoven into every strategy. Therefore, I felt it important to discuss how this relationship manifests through different forms of media so that we can ensure that we are responsible consumers of campaign messages. First, we'll discuss earned media, which includes newspapers, broadcast news, and other forms of journalism. According to David A. Jones, author of U.S. Media and Elections in Flux, traditional news organizations remain the most important sources of election information for most Americans. Campaigns still expend a great deal of time and energy shaping how their candidates get covered in newspapers and on television. The cooperation of the press is one major way for campaigns to spread their propaganda. The press has power, sometimes referred to as the agenda-setting effect, which refers to the fact that campaigns that are given coverage are more widely known and therefore viable. This process can be somewhat circular, as news organizations want to cover viable and relevant candidates, but oftentimes their coverage is what makes a candidate relevant and viable. Alternatively, reporters who are covering specific campaigns often need access to the candidate in order to do their job effectively. If a candidate feels that a reporter has been covering their campaign unfavorably, they can cut off that reporter's access, making it more difficult for them to do their job. In this way, candidates exercise some control over the press and their coverage. Campaign propaganda is also effectively spread through paid media or advertisements. One well-known form of political propaganda comes from negative advertisements. In the book Controlling the Message by Victoria Myers, it is said that negative political content can increase political participation, seemingly galvanizing consumers to act with biased information. Campaigns also push their propaganda through social media. According to David Jones, author of Elections in Media and Flux, campaigns are turning to social media platforms to overcome some of the limitations of traditional earned and paid media. One major strength of social media is that social networking outlets foster information sharing among rank-and-file voters, activists, volunteers, and the campaigns that they support. Facebook has been shown to serve as an outlet to reach disengaged voters, and online political participation on Facebook has a statistically significant effect on attending a rally, participating in a boycott, or signing a petition. However, the rise of social media has also brought negative effects to political campaigns. For example, while traditional media outlets have incentives to carry an air of objectivity, similar incentives simply do not exist in the realm of political blogs, and social media is more negative than typical news. With the rise of social media and the prevalence of a 24-hour news cycle, reporters are under more pressure than ever to report newsworthy events quickly, often in real time. This can mean that simple things like fact-checking can get missed, and a candidate's inaccurate claim can be amplified incredibly quickly through Twitter and other forms of social media. In short, because both political campaigns and propaganda rely heavily on the widespread of information in order to achieve a goal, it is impossible to completely separate the two. It is therefore important to recognize propaganda strategies in campaigns in order to be responsible consumers and voters.